Peace, everybody, and welcome to my channel. People often ask me, how do I get the ideas for the movies that I do? And it's different. It's just different, depending. It just depends on what I don't know, it just comes. But sometimes it just comes from a conversation. I talk to a lot of people, right? I talk to a lot of people, so talking to people is where ideas also spark. Because a person might just say one thing, and that sparks an idea for an entire movie. So I'll say, like, talking to people. And then when those ideas come, there's ideas that come into my head that's spinning. I take it like the universe. So they say like the universe was created from a bang, right? And that anything in the universe was in this small package that exploded. And when it exploded, everything came out. And then you had the planet. So Earth was already in this big bang. It was already there. You know, all these different galaxies, Orion, and all of these things were already there in this small condensed energy that exploded and then started orbiting. That's the way I see the ideas that are in my head. So there's certain movie ideas, screenplay ideas that's in my head, and I say that they're in that energy orbiting in there. They're just in there brewing, right? And then when I finally get the chance to go onto the computer and start typing, it just pours out like water. It all pours out. And I can write that script the first draft very quickly. And I've written first drafts in a matter of like 6 days because it was just pouring out. But then there's those ideas which I have to really think on. And it takes a little while before I can really get it out. It takes a while before I can get it out. So those ones that are orbiting in my head, like I got one in my mind already that's been orbiting in my mind for a few months now, and I just haven't had the chance yet to sit down and let it pour out. This is a tip, right? When you might have a movie or screenplay that you cannot get out, right? Because sometimes you might focus on dialogue in your screenplay. I would say don't focus on the dialogue. Focus on what's happening in the scene. And what I mean by this is like taking a coloring book, right? You see a child's coloring book, it has the picture drawn, and now you just got to fill it in. That's what I'm talking about, meaning that I would write the scene out. I would like make a column and have 1 to 100, and those 1 to 100 scenes, and then I would just label the scene title, where it's located, and move down to the scene title, where it's located, who's in there, move down. But there's no dialogue, because the dialogue is a crayon that's going to color it in. Now, if you imagine, right, and we see it done all the time in comedy, where they'll take an image of somebody, or they'll take footage of somebody that's having a completely different conversation, and then they will narrate. They will put a different dubbing over it to make them say something else fun, comical, right? We see it all the time happening, right? So that's the same thing. That's the same mentality, meaning that you can be looking at a man and woman talking across the street, and you can film that, and now you can fill in the conversation that they're having. Although you can't hear what they're saying, but you can create it for yourself. You can look at the scene. So that's what I do sometimes, is that I make the scene, and then I'll come back later, and now I begin to add the dialogue. Like I'll look at it and say, okay, what's happening? What are they talking about in this scene? And then begin filling it in. That's just one way I write a screenplay. There's many different other methods that I use to write screenplays, depending on how the idea comes to me. The ones that are the easiest is just the ones that are just in my head spiraling around. I swear they just pour out like water, just like water. But that's another way that I write a screenplay, by bringing the dialogue after, because I found that if I concentrate on dialogue, then it makes me stuck. You know, I'm stuck if I concentrate on dialogue, because what it's saying. But if you just relax, don't worry about the dialogue, and just worry about what's happening in the scene. You look in, okay, this is what's going on in this particular location. The dialogue will come later. Anyway, I hope that helps you. Peace.